Welcome to the Success with Jewelry podcast, where we invite you inside our conversations about business success and marketing for jewelry designers and entrepreneurs.
We're Liz and Laryssa, jewelry marketing experts with a combined 16 years of experience in jewelry marketing and proven track records in helping jewelry brands meet their goals. When you listen to or watch this podcast, you get an intimate and exclusive peek behind the curtain of all the things you wish you could know about earning success in this industry.
Welcome to episode 56. In this episode, Liz and I are going to share tips about making the most of customer testimonials. So we'll be covering why testimonials are so important and how to actually get them from your customers. We also want to tell you about our insider community. When you join, you'll have access to extended episodes full of tips that you can start implementing today and further resources about each topic we discuss. In the bonus version of this episode, we talk about where to share your testimonials and how to actually leverage them in your marketing. If you want exclusive access to that content, as well as direct access to me and Liz, sign up by visiting successwithjewelry.com. Hey, Liz, let's get into it.
Let's get into this. I think the hardest part about testimonials is actually getting them.
It's very true, because you also can't do anything without them. So it's the biggest hurdle there.
Right. Which, by the way, if you like the podcast, we'd really appreciate you leaving us a review.
Oh, I like how you snuck that in there.
I posted on social media yesterday. I was like, leave us a review, because we haven't asked for reviews in like 6 months. And I was like, we have to get on this, because you don't get something you don't ask for usually.
It's very true. I think people just assume like, oh, people should leave a review or a testimonial, but like 99% of people aren't, unless they're very unhappy, and you don't want that.
You don't want that. So let's first answer the question of why testimonials are so important.
Yeah. I mean, especially if you are newer to market or a smaller business, your biggest hurdle is like building trust with new eyeballs on your brand. Like they're going to wonder, can I buy from this person? Can I trust them as much as like Amazon, for example? And seeing those peer reviews from actual customers, it just brings more relief and like a better likelihood that that person's going to feel comfortable buying from you.
Right. They're so important. Have you used them in your business?
I have, but I don't know. I think at least in the type of business I do, people are more interested in case studies than just someone saying something, because, most people are going to say something nice about working with me if I ask them.
You're right. Case studies are where it's at when you're in a business like us. But I've used testimonials because when I'm selling the Stay Gold Collective, people want to hear other people's experiences. And that's really helped me grow that portion of my business.
That makes a lot of sense for what you do, for sure. And for people who sell any kind of product.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Because this offers like social proof. And that social proof is something that can really encourage people to buy. Humans tend to validate their decisions based on others' experiences and choices.
Yeah. I mean, think about your own behavior. Looking at, sorry, I'm saying it again, Amazon. Like I totally decide what to buy based on what people are saying about it.
I'm really into reading. That's probably my biggest hobby. So when I'm choosing a new book to read, I'm like big on Goodreads, which is like a social media site for book lovers. But I read a lot of reviews, not only because I want to know if people like the book, but because even after I've read a book, I want to know what other people thought, because sometimes I'm just reading and I have nobody to talk to. So reading people's opinions and thoughts and reviews of different books, I find really entertaining.
I love reading reviews of a book after I read a book, especially if I didn't like the book and I need to like kind of like rant with somebody.
Yes, agreed. But I also read like a million reviews when it comes to pretty much anything I purchase online.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same.
So social proof is testimonials. And this obviously reassures potential buyers they're making the right choice. I think when you're thinking about sharing testimonials, and especially if you're like really looking for people to feel comfortable with their purchase, having photos with that is really great too.
video would be even more amazing if it's possible for you. That's something you consider asking like your more VIP clients or people you have better relationships with.
Right. Or if you are with a client and they're wearing your work, taking a photo is the
Mhm.
best way to collect photos.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, again, as I mentioned, like the internet is such a scary place sometimes, and people are skeptical about like buying things from sites that they aren't super familiar with because there is a lot of shady stuff happening. So you have to take that into consideration. You can't just assume that people are going to see it and trust you. That's just not realistic. And so if you want to overcome that skepticism, reviews can help with that.
Yes, for sure. I mean, there are so many brands out there, and the ones that I'm more likely to spend a lot of money with are ones that I've been following for a while and I've had trust with. Like I feel like I trust them. I feel like I know them. So that's really important. There's just a lot of opportunities for people to purchase from different brands. So you want to make sure you're the one that they think of immediately and feels really good for them.
Yeah, I just thought of something else too that goes beyond kind of what we're talking about. It's like, yeah, reviews are great if you post them on your own site or you have them there. But I think that you should strive for a level of customer satisfaction that people will go to places like Reddit or like other places that they talk about things and they wholeheartedly just like recommend you in other places beyond just your website. I know I look at Reddit for like product recommendations sometimes for things.
Reddit is a scary place. I sometimes spend way too much time reading Reddit. But yes, you're totally right, Laryssa. It's like not even just like where else they're posting it on the internet, but like, are they telling their friends? Like, I tell everyone about May Lindstrom because I've had such a good experience with her. But I felt comfortable purchasing May Lindstrom's product, which is again like $350 skincare. It's expensive. It's not something I buy every day. It's something that I treat myself to like maybe once every 2 years. But anyway, because a friend told me that it was amazing
Mhm.
and I trusted them and I trusted their recommendation. So that's what made me feel comfortable purchasing this product.
Definitely. Yeah. This will boost your brand image over time. It kind of also it just makes everything feel more tangible. If you sell online, it's like the ether basically. Like make it feel more real and something you can connect to. And the other kind of like side benefit about having reviews and testimonials, especially if you have like really compelling ones and you have a good amount of them, people will spend more time on your site because they're not just going to browse your products, but they probably will like read through reviews and have like more of an experience there as well.
Reviews are so important these days. I mean, not just for products, but also thinking about reviews I've been reading recently is like podcast reviews. Like, not to harp on this again, but like if you spend 2 minutes reviewing our podcast, that is really helpful to us in a big way. And it can be make or break for content people are putting out there. It's the same way like liking a photo on Instagram is a great way to support a small business. But this Instagram personality, well, it's a duo. It's if you're a parent, you probably follow them, but Big Little Feelings, they just launched a podcast. And even though they have 3 million followers on Instagram, they were still asking people as they launched their podcast for reviews and, you know, just the stars and then also writing something because that's make or break for them. It's so important.
It's such a good point. So how, Liz, do we get these testimonials?
Oh gosh, this is so hard. So in my experience, I've directly asked for them. So, you can't always just passively put something out there like, hey, your testimonials are great. Like how I said in this episode, like a review of our podcast would be great. Something I do is like if somebody mentions to me, oh, I love listening to your podcast, I usually write back, especially if I know them, like, oh, that's great. Can I quote you? Or can I use this
Yeah.
as a testimonial? Or, if you don't mind, can you click this link and write us a review? So I think directly asking is 100% the best way to get testimonials.
Yeah, people don't always even know how to do it. Like there's like a technical aspect of it. So if you ask, you can be clear about where you want it and how to actually do it.
And a lot of times people want to help you, but they
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah, I would say like 90% of the time.
A really great way to automate it too is to utilize post-purchase emails, or feedback forms. That's a great way to gather testimonials.
Definitely. Yeah. And sometimes an incentive might help. Maybe you do a giveaway based on like everyone who leaves a review in a certain time frame. You can't necessarily ask for good reviews. That's kind of like not ethical. But if you encourage people to leave feedback, then you can enter all those people in like a contest or something. And that will definitely get a better response.
Yeah, any kind of like freebie too. It's like, leave a review and I'll send you some merch, or I'll send you this thing, or a discount or something like that. But I think those are all great ways to really encourage it.
Yeah. And then if you show off, let's say people are giving you user generated content like photos or videos, and you elevate those people, show them off, share their content, like celebrate them. Maybe if people are shy, they wouldn't like that, but some people would be excited for you to highlight them. And that can be an incentive to get someone to share as well.
Right. Always ask permission. But I do find that when I share a testimonial, or I share someone sharing like my new Stay Gold merch, then more people share it or send me a photo and say, hey, feel free to use this. Or if I share testimonials, sometimes like Stay Gold members will be like, hey, I'm going to send you a testimonial too. So sometimes sharing helps more things come.
Yeah. And if you do get negative feedback, which sometimes happens, it's hard to avoid. What should you do about that?
Oh gosh. I think confront it. I think
Yeah,
that, you can't ignore stuff like that. I think that you have to also, like, if it's in a public place, you need to confront it publicly. Even if it's like, hey, I'm going to send you a message so we can talk about this, like, just so that it's out there that you're dealing with it and not ignoring it.
absolutely. Yeah. And then, if you are able to resolve it, it's okay. Sometimes people are a little bit nutty and there's no helping them, but I think most people are reasonable. So if you can help them, they might even be willing to write like a follow-up, or, express that, oh, this was handled very professionally and in a timely manner.
Have you dealt with a lot of negative feedback?
Uh, Thankfully, no. I've had the occasional person that I feel like no one can no one can make them happy, and you have to realize that's just like a truth of life. I have seen customers deal with it. They just have someone that like literally harps on them and like blasts them with like bad stuff. And it is so disheartening and it's annoying, to be honest. But like, then sometimes there's nothing you can do about it. You kind of, at a certain point, do have to ignore it because engaging is worse.
Right. It's such a tough thing. I saw this brand do something. I think they handled it beautifully. If you're looking at like how to deal with a negative situation in a good way, it's a brand called oh my gosh, Noonworks. It's a
Mhm.
clothing brand, like an indie clothing brand. They have really like cool patterns, and they collaborate with artists to choose these patterns. And they ended up choosing an artist to work with who copied another artist's work, and everybody calls them out when they launch this. They're already in production. They can't stop making it. So they handled it really well. I think they handled it in a way that I think people really appreciated it, where they were like, we're going to sell this at a discounted rate. We're going to connect with the original artist and donate to a cause that they're interested in. And I don't know, the way that they were so transparent with what they were doing too, because they were getting a ton of really negative feedback for this whole thing. And I think confronting it and being transparent was a really good approach.
Yeah, I like to see that. I don't think you can be mad at a brand like that. Everyone makes mistakes.
Everyone makes
Um,
mistakes.
I ordered a bathing suit recently from an indie brand that presents very well in their like online presence. And so I felt like I could trust them, seemed cool, whatever. I kind of realized that, I should have known this and done my due diligence, but all their like return policy stuff is a little bit weird and shady. And afterward, I found on Reddit like whole threads about issues people had with them, and their Yelp was like on blast. And it made me sad. Like, also, I was annoyed, but also I'm like, This brand has so much going for it, like on as a facade, but then behind the scenes, if you dig, there's like all this stuff that they've never directly responded to. And that's just not a good look, because if someone else has that bad experience, they will find that stuff and it will put such a bad taste in their mouth.
That's so true. I think confronting and being transparent, I mean, it's the best way to build a strong business.
Definitely. So, in the bonus episode, we'll be talking about where to share your testimonials and how to actually leverage them in your marketing. So, have you been looking for new ways to encourage your customers to share testimonials? Let us know. You can visit successwithjewelry.com to sign up for the extended episode as well as exclusive content. Thanks so much for listening.